Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our virtual town hall meeting on our small businesses. We've been at this for several months, every Tuesday at noontime, talking about the most important things that are impacting our small business community in the state of Rhode Island, and today is no different. I'm happy to be here. I'm a little underdressed today, been a little busy over the last few days. As many people know, the governor has, has been accepted a Commerce Secretary position in D.C. and we're making plans to kind of catch up to make sure that we're ready to take over when that actually happens. We still don't know the date that that's going to happen, but we're working at it and we're working hard at it to make sure that there's a good, smooth transition with the governor and her staff on behalf of the people who live in the state of Rhode Island. So I want to just say quickly the things that we've talked about in the past. The small business communities are important to our state, and we're going to continue to work to make sure that the dollars that were allocated by the governor and the CARES Act dollars for small businesses get awarded to our small businesses. The deadline for the hard deadline of December 30th no longer exists. That deadline now is into 2021, and the state of Massachusetts has actually accelerated the amount of money that they're going to help the small business with. So initially what we're asking is that to make sure that the dollars that were allocated, in particular the PAWS grants and the dollars that Division of Taxation are using, I've talked about this many times. I came on with a tin russet sign and talked about the fact that, about $80 million was appropriated in total between the PAWS and close early on the restaurants to help our small businesses survive. Of that $80 million, the last count was about $42 million that was awarded. I know that there's going to be some more dollars, but there's going to be a significant amount of dollars that was promised to our small business community in that program that we want to talk about creating a Restore Rhode Island 2 program, which I've talked about now for the last few weeks, as soon as we knew that the hard deadline of December 30th was no longer a deadline for us, and we need to take advantage of that. So that's the small business issue. We'll be talking some of the SBA issues here with Mark Haywood, who's been unbelievable with being here, and Matt Weldon on the DLT issues. Liz Tanner's with us today on the Department of Business Regulation, as she's been here for months, helping people not only through this format, but also her office, as all our offices are trying to help our small businesses and anybody else. So if you have questions that are related to the small business, give us a call. If you've got questions or you've got issues that are related to the COVID that are not related to the small business, give us a call. If you have issues that are not related to the COVID, but they're important to you, give us a call at 2371. I keep on mentioning that name, 272-2371. And then you also can email us, and Ben will put that up there. As I've always done in the last few calls, we talk about education. And again, invite anybody to come into that discussion that is interested. We know that through no fault of our school districts, they're working hard to deal with the virtual learning that's going on. There's going to be an acceleration as of happened on Monday with kids in the classroom. So there's going to be more kids in the classroom, but there's still many students that aren't in the classroom. So it doesn't matter if you're high income, low income, moderate income, whether you're going to a district school, public school, or a charter school, or a private school, or you happen to live in Rhode Island and you go out of state to go to school, to our schools, in terms of the pre-K through the 12. We are losing hundreds and hundreds of hours of learning time, and we need an intentional strategy to make that work. So I've been recommending what I did in Cumberland. We started our 15th year, January 7th, on a Office for Children, Youth, and Learning. We've just started, through our third mayor, Mayor Mutter, currently, Mayor Mutter, prior to that, Mayor Murray. And that is a 52-week-a-year education program with retired teachers teaching and underemployed teachers, as well as current teachers in the system, working to help young people in our town learn to read, do math, science, music, art, all related type of academic activities. Intentionally, we can structure that in a way to help the students catch up on this lost learning time. That's going to be good for the students, because if you don't do that, their incomes are going to be impacted for a lifetime. This is going to be important to the families because they want their kids to have the very best opportunity possible, again, regardless of where they live, what community, 39 cities and towns, what community that makes up those communities. And it's going to be incredibly important to the economy of the state of Rhode Island. We're going to be challenged enough to figure out how to work our way through the economic impacts that the pandemic has had on us. So we need to figure out to make sure that we're doing everything we can to help our students with the catch up on this lost learning time. Our school districts are going to do their part, but there's not going to be enough time in their day to actually make up for the hours and hours of lost learning time that's happened. So I'll leave it at that on the education. Let's get to the program, Ben, just as we have for months here. And I want to welcome in, I think Joe Rodeo will be with us, as well as Mark Haywood initially. And we got a lot to talk about. Hi, Joe. How you doing?
I
can't hear you, but I can hear. How you doing there, Mark?
I'm doing great, Governor.
Afternoon. Good. I do want to mention that to people who have been following my quarantine over the weekend, that I did test negative yesterday, both Susan and I. So we're happy about that. But we need to make sure that we stay safe, and that you reminded me of that when you put the mask on. Yes, we need to make sure we stay safe. That's top priority, right? Top priority is our safety, getting out the vaccine, and making sure we're doing everything we can there. So, Mark, what do you got there? You got the Tampa Bay.
It's Mickey Mouse. We've recycled him. He's come back. He was one of the very first that came in.
Nice.
We've recycled him back. Governor, it's good to talk to you again. Again, congratulations. And of course, you know that we'll do whatever we can to help the small business community here in the state of Rhode Island. I have documents. It's funny because somebody said to me, "Don't print them off." Don't, but I did anyway. And the interesting thing is, so the agency has opened up the PPP at this point in time, and it's only open right now for CDFIs, for CDCs, which is Community Development Corporations, and microlenders. The unfortunate side of that, Governor, is the fact we do not have any in Rhode Island. We do have, we have one CDC, we have a number of, we have one CDFI, we have a number of CDCs, but none of them have signed up to do PPP. The focus of the agency was that we were going to push this into underserved communities, communities of color, and right now we don't have that. However, once the door opens for everybody, and we're hoping that that's going to be soon, that all of these issues will go away, because I can tell you that my email, my phone, everything has been ringing off the hook, as you can well imagine, that our participating lenders are getting ready to go back into the community and to start lending under PPP, the second round. So we do have applications. There are applications for second draw and first draw. So let me address a couple of issues that have come up. Today, I got a question from one of my participating lenders that said, well, we have a business that basically has 325 employees that did not get a first draw because they were over 500 employees at the time, but now they're at 325 employees. Are they eligible for the second draw? And I said, the answer to the second draw is no, but they are now eligible for the first draw. So because they are within that size standard. So it really, if people have questions, ask us the questions. We are endeavoring to get the answers to make sure that we get as many people as eligible as possible. Because remember, if you're applying on, if you've got a PPP and you're applying under the second draw, you're applying under different rules. The rule for the second draw, Governor, is basically you had a diminution of 25% or more in your net proceeds, your net revenues. So if you're pulling from the second draw, you've had your PPP, you've expended it, does not, and this is a critical issue. It's not that you have gotten forgiveness for the first PPP, but the fact that you had the first PPP, you've expended it all. Now you know that you have a 25% diminution in revenue. Now you can apply for your second draw. And the great thing about the application, and it's for those who are $150,000 or less, as Joe knows, this is going to be really easy. It's your self-certification. And while you do not have to put specifically certain information as it relates to the 25% diminution, I have told everybody, listen, if you can prove it up front, get that documentation and put it there so that when you're on the back end trying to get forgiveness of now your second draw, that there is no questions, because the 25% has to be proven at the time that you're asking for forgiveness. Do it up front. It's very easy. It's not difficult. And the other question we got, Governor, as well, in the fourth quarter, I had a pretty good fourth quarter. So if I compare fourth quarter 2019 to fourth quarter of 2020, I actually didn't have a 25% revenue loss. No, what it says is you can compare quarters. It could be the first quarter, 19 and 20. It could be the second quarter, 19 and 20. It could be the third quarter, 19 and 20. And you may have gotten into the summertime, and in your third quarter of 19 versus 20, you're down 30%. You're eligible. And that's really what you need to start looking at. I fully expect that once we open the floodgates, we're going to get a lot of applications. And again, we're working with the lenders to do that. I also want to talk about the shuttered venues. I actually had a discussion earlier with Lynn Singleton from PPAC. And the shuttered venues is a little bit different. They're trying to refine the definition of what is a shuttered venue, because we've had some questions from establishments that have live entertainment that believe that they could actually apply under the shuttered venue. I haven't seen the regulations yet, Governor, but when we do, we're certainly going to get them out, because those are grants up to $10 million. Now, here's the caveat. If you get a shuttered venue grant, you are not eligible for PPP. So you got to make sure certain things, and we're happy to help small businesses. And Governor, I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you. In the last 36 hours, I had a lot of information thrown at me, and sometimes I get fog, but there is going to be a lot of opportunity for our local small business people.
Well, yeah, and to any of our new listeners out there, on this program, Mark has been information for months and getting into the small business community. My only question is a very simple one before Joe might get more complicated. And then if Ben has any questions in the back room there, he can bring it for us. But what's the timing on it again, Mark? When would the applications become available to apply? And then what is the time frame in terms of qualified applicants receiving the help that they need? Do you have any?
Yeah, we don't have the actual date when the portal is going to open. My understanding, it is going to be sooner versus later. We just had a call about 20 minutes ago, and we had this whole discussion. There are some people who are saying probably on Tuesday, because Monday is a federal holiday. There's a different platform that banks actually have to go on now. It's because they want to make it as easy as possible from the forgiveness. Actually, it's the forgiveness portal that's been also transformed into the application portal for PPP round 2. So I don't know. We haven't been told, but I'm hoping extremely soon. And remember, there is sufficient amount of money. Everybody's saying, well, there's not a lot of money. No, that's not correct. I believe there's about 400 billion, 300 and plus billion. And remember, the limitations are a little bit different. You can only get up to $2 million. And trust me, Governor, most 85% or 86% of all loans done in the last one were 150,000 or less. So I fully expect that that's what it's going to be. Because remember, if you are a very important distinction is if you're in the hospitality industry, if you have the North American Standards and Industrial Code that begins in 72, which is either hoteliers or hospitality, you would take those 2 months and go 3.5x. So you're getting 3.5 times those 2 months versus 2.5 for everybody else. So yeah, in the next couple of days, I would fully expect that we're going to be open for business, and there's plenty of money for everybody.
Joe, you got some questions?
Thanks, Mark. I know there's a lot to come, so I don't think I will hurl any at you yet. But even a few weeks ago, there was obviously a delay for the signature on this. We on this show said the thing to do now is go to SBA.gov. You can see the sample application, especially under those 150,000. Be in touch with your financing partner, whether you've had a loan in the past or not. You can see what's on there. Get it ready now, because when they open, we'll see. But you're going to want to be timely when that portal opens. So you can just see now and get working on it.
And if you have a question, we've had some really interesting, unique questions that have been asked. The one that I just answered was, well, we're a hotel. We were not open. We started construction in 2018. We were not open in 2019, but we did have people on the payroll, and we did open in August of 2020. Are we eligible for the second round? And I came back and we did some research and said, no, you're eligible for the first round. So you need to adjust somewhat, and you need to look at certain things. But what we're answering questions, Joe, that of a technical nature, just trying to fit people in. And there are strange situations and different criteria. Ask us. If we don't have the answer, we'll find it. Great.
Thank you, Mark. I know Ben, it looks like Ben might want to come in here for a second.
I always get afraid when Ben comes on.
Don't worry. We're gonna have a whole tech meeting, LG. So, right, I have a couple questions for you, Mark. One is from Diane. Hi, Mark. I own a travel agency, and we filed for the first PPP, but part of the rule was that we had to bring all employees back by December 31st. Well, that didn't happen. Are we allowed to claim safe harbor?
If the money was expended over the covered period, then you would be within the safe harbor period. I mean, and I'm assuming it's less than 150,000.
Okay.
So if she wants to reach out, and I know, Ben, you put up the SBA district office site. If she wants to send me an email, we'll certainly look into it as well. But my gut is yes.
Okay. Rebecca says, would we use the quarter that has the highest employee count along with the 25% loss? I have more staff in the summer, but less of a loss.
No, you want to use your count needs to be quarter over quarter, and you need to be it's less on employees, and I'd have to go back and take a look at the application again, and more on. So it talks about your average monthly payroll. And as it relates to, it does ask for the number of employees, but I certainly, it depends on what industry is she in?
She owns a restaurant.
So that would be 3.5. So she would want to do the calculation based upon what's going to give her the biggest impact at 3.5. And I not having the numbers in front of me, I probably could run them in my head, but you want to have Joe, wouldn't you agree with that? Do your comparisons and get it as much as possible.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons, Mark, to the earlier point, that take a look at the application, start looking at each of your quarters, and get your info lined up now so that you're ready to hit submit as soon as that's open.
Right, I agree.
Final question. When we mention hospitality, would this include the wedding and event industry at 3.5, DJs, photographers, venues, planners?
So you have to look at your SIC code, your North American size standard, industrial size standard, and your SIC code has to begin with 72. That I don't know what you file your taxes under what SIC code, but it have to be under SIC code 72. And then the eligibility based upon the SIC code of 72 is 3.5 versus 2.5. I don't make the rules. That's the way it is.
Great, Mark. Thank you. And just to remind the listeners, share this because this information is very, very important to get the jump start that Joe was talking about. And Mark, I mean, almost $2 billion you were able to help facilitate through the different departments in our office. This is really critical to what's going to happen here. So getting a jump start for our small businesses and being available to them the way that you have been and will be so critical. We're going to keep on fighting for the tens of millions of dollars that that we think the CARES Act could continue to help these small businesses. This is this thing is a multiple of that, significant a multiple of that. So, and then we're also going to be getting back to you again to continue the conversation when the PP is over. I still believe we need to be proactive on a strong state guaranteed with a partnership with the SBA, with all our businesses, all our banks in the state, with a very favorable small business loan strategy. So we'll look forward to working with you on all those details. But right now, first things first. Let's get the CARES Act money to our small businesses, and let's prepare for these dollars to get out to our small business. So thank you so much for participating, and look forward to we're going to continue these events. Regardless of the position I'm in, we're going to continue these because these are so important and so many people are being helped.
Hey, thank you, Governor. Anytime, just reach out. We're here for you.
Great.
Thanks, Mark.
Hello there.
Matt. Hi, Matt.
Congratulations, Governor. How are you?
I went and got my mask because Liz is coming. Thank you, Matt. We really look forward to working with you and your whole team there. I knew how well you were doing before the pandemic, but certainly have developed a higher level of appreciation of the work that you're doing during this time frame. So I know, just to kind of review, last week we were talking about the calls that you're receiving and the work that's being done. So just give us an update of where you are right now.
Sure. We're busy, of course, but I think we're in a pretty good spot. I think Rhode Island was one of 4 states in the country that paid those new federal extended benefits in the very first week without a lag. At least from a professional group, I think there were 4 states, and Rhode Island was one. That's because we moved in anticipation of some rule changes and what we thought was the right thing to do. And that's kind of been the direction we've taken all along. Because of that, we know that tens of thousands of Rhode Islanders have received the $300 boost, which goes right back into our economy. They've now gotten it for 2 weeks because they certified now for 2 of the weeks that they were eligible for. We have tens of thousands of Rhode Islanders transitioning to different tiers of unemployment extensions that are available. And a restaurant, when a customer goes in and orders something, they don't necessarily need to go to the back in the kitchen and see every step it goes through. Our job is not to make it complicated. It's to make it as easy as possible in a big, difficult program. What that means is Joe Rodeo applies for benefits. We get Joe Rodeo on whatever payment we can get him on as quickly as possible. Tell him what he has to do to be able to keep that benefit, and ask him to check our website for updates or to use the automated system. If there's any problems, we tell him, give us a call at 415-6772. And like I said last week, it's not that we don't want to talk to everybody, but in the event that you just have a question that maybe there's an FAQ on the website, or you already spoke with someone and you call again just to get reassurance, that's okay. But just know that you're preventing somebody else who hasn't been paid yet from maybe getting their opportunity to get help that day. So we're asking for everybody. We've been in this together for 10 months. Let's keep going forward together, and let's try to use the tools that are available and get the help that we need. Our information is there on the screen. I think you can get up-to-date. I know you can up-to-date information by either calling in or going to the website. I'm urging people to use the website. About 82,000 people received a payment last week. That's up from a little bit where it was right before the pause. We expect that number to probably stay around there and trickle down as we go forward. A lot of those workers from the pause have gone back to work, but other people have applied. The good thing is the federal programs remain available, and we'll continue to make sure that people have access. And it is a very complicated process. So just bear with us and keep checking online. Other than that, Governor, I think we're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, so WorkShare continues.
Yeah, WorkShare So
Matt?
we should take the opportunity, Governor, to talk about Workshare in depth at some point. Workshare is a great program.
Yep.
Workshare, I'll remind everybody just briefly, it's a program that allows people to temporarily reduce the hours of their workforce instead of laying them off. Why would they want to do that? Because it keeps them connected to their employees who they've invested in. And we know, the people that are on this session, that investing in human resources is expensive and time consuming. And so if you can keep those people engaged, keep them connected, and then they can get some support from the federal unemployment system, then that's great. And right now, not only is it covered 100% by the federal government, which means it doesn't cost the employer anything, but those workers will also get the $300 boost up until March 13th in Rhode Island. So it's a win-win. There's information about Workshare on our website. I urge people to check it out. Anybody who wants to have a conversation about Workshare, reach out to the Lieutenant Governor's office or the DLT, and we'll get them connected right away.
That is, as a small business owner, my family, there's going to be businesses out there that are going to want to keep their doors open, but just because we're still in this, downturn because of the pandemic, they're going to want to keep their staff, and they're going to want to be fair with their staff. So this combination that you just described really does help people keep their doors open, keep their staff in line, in the mix, and it allows the staff that is working, 50% of the time or 60% or whatever it might be, to make sure that their incomes are not impacted so negatively that they can't pay their bills as well. And those dollars all roll back into our economy. And was an interesting point. It was more of an economic point. But if the stimulus goes out the way it's planned and the way that the President Biden plans to bring it out, our GDP is going to grow as much as 6% based on the data that I've seen. If the monies don't come out that Mark is talking about and you're talking about in an aggressive way that the President-elect's talking about, our GDP is going to grow it's going to be flat. It's going to be like zero. So you getting these dollars out and taking advantage of every possibility for our, the people who live in Rhode Island, as well as Mark and others, that's going to put us in that spot where our GDP is going to grow. And if our GDP is growing, then our economy is going to snap back a lot quicker. And also it's going to help our municipal budgets and our state budgets, because the stronger our economy is, the more work we can do for people it's easier to balance a budget in a good economy as opposed to a bad economy. So, Matt, thanks again for all the work you're doing. All the dollars that you're getting out, many people that are on unemployment right now were not on unemployment when this started, and they're going to get back into the workforce. But you're allowing them, with the work that you're doing, to keep their homes, keep their houses, keep their apartments they have, keep the car payments going, keep food on the table. I just want you to know that that's critical, and you guys stepping up in your department. Let me just tell you that there's 2 thumbs up. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Governor.
You got it. Ben, you got anything for Matt?
Matt, I just have one quick question, just so that we ask it live. But I just want to let everybody know, if you do have a question, you can't get a hold of DLT, you feel like you have a unique situation, contact those contact info by phone or ltgov@ltgov.ri.gov, and someone from the Lieutenant Governor's office will get back to you and put you in touch with DLT directly. Somebody said, any advice? There it is. Sorry, too many comments. I had to scroll up. Filed on 12/3 and still haven't heard anything. Now have COVID and business closed. Any advice?
Follow the information you just said. Reach out to the Lieutenant Governor's office. Get your information to them. They'll get it to me quickly. They do every day. I'll get them connected with someone that can help them quickly.
Joe, you got anything for Matt?
No, I think Matt touched on the 2 things that I was concerned about. Sounds like, Matt, if I remember our number a few weeks ago, there's been maybe just under a 10% growth since the pause period. As we're going through this tough time, the good news you highlighted is, those benefits will be through March 13th and the Workshare remains available. So, this is nobody's fault, and there are resources available, and just thanks for highlighting those things.
Of course. And if we could ever do a session on work-share alone and you want to do that, let's explore that offline and be happy to oblige.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, Matt, we're going to keep this up on this time frame until it makes sense not to. So come on board. Oh yeah, don't worry. I got mask too. I think that you're setting a good standard here, Liz. The importance of masks. So is that special mask today or? Huh?
This one's a new one. This is again from the Sand Dollar in Bristol. Super cute store. They sell lots of coastal trinkets and things like that, and they have really pretty masks. So I'm thinking spring here already. I think it's a little early for that, but
Yes,
anyhow, a couple things to share if you don't mind.
Yes, please. Yep.
So the
The
LG
floor is yours.
Foundation-
You can hear me.
Crunchy, so I'm gonna talk. So
Yeah, please.
there was a couple things that you guys had asked about last week, and so I have some answers. So first is the airport testing. So the reason I didn't have an answer last week is because we were about this close to starting it back up. So there is now airport testing from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. every single day down near baggage claim. And so when guests are coming, Rhode Islanders or visitors are coming through the airport, they can get tested in the airport. So I know that was a question from last week. Another question from last week was, can Massachusetts employees get tested in Rhode Island if they're employed by a Rhode Island employer? Their answer is yes. So again, that was part of a conversation of, we have a lot of testing available. It's really very simple to do right now. So we are very much encouraging our employers to have their employees tested on a regular basis. So for example, the data showed me this week that some of the increases in retail workers were particularly high this week. And we don't usually have that. I'm guessing it's a result of the holidays. But if you've got a small retail store, you might want to give your folks some time before they come into work to get tested. Right? It's pretty simple to do these days. Those Binax tests, the 15-minute tests, they're out there. So please try to use them. Same thing with food service, your restaurants, your fast food eateries, and your grocery stores in particular. We have a lot of grocery stores having some tough times right now. So please, please, please make sure you get your employees tested. It's really easy to do, and the results happen very, very fast. And then one other thing I wanted to highlight is we're seeing a reduced compliance in two particular areas. First is the area of the control plan. And we really, really want you to have a control plan, because when something goes wrong, if you don't have a plan, you're not going to know how to react, right? So please, please, please take a look at that control plan. Make sure that you know what you're going to do when you have some kind of a problem. You're sick, an employee is sick, one of your customers who was in the shop is sick, something goes wrong. How are you going to handle it? So really wanting to encourage folks to do the control plan. And then the other thing that was a surprise to us, because we were up to almost 100% compliance, is we're seeing a real drop in the number of businesses who are not cleaning their high-touch surfaces, which is kind of gross in the first place, right? So, so we would like to encourage you to make sure that it's obvious that you're cleaning your high-touch surfaces, your credit card pads, your counters, whatever it might be in your establishment. But cleaning your high-touch surfaces is important anyway, nonetheless in a COVID world, nonetheless in the middle of the winter when everybody's coughing and often sick. So those are the two things we'd really like to try to encourage you to do, but also to please get your employees tested on a regular basis. It's really easy to do right now, and so we think this is the time to do it. So LG, are you back? Do you think we can talk to you here?
I don't know. I got a little closer to our internet, but can you hear me?
We can hear you.
No.
You're kind of coming in and out, but we can hear you very well.
Okay. Yeah, well, I don't know what's going on, but we had a little trouble with my mom's TV this week, so I've been like a TV repairman. Well, hopefully we're going to get a repair. I don't know whether that's impacting our internet or not, but those are the that's the challenges we have. But Liz, thanks for being here. Joe, do you have any questions of Liz at all?
No changes, Liz, in the requirements at this time. Is that right?
No changes in the requirements. There's been a request for some clarifications in the fitness and sport place, and so we're looking into that right now because there's been some questions there.
Thank you.
And Liz, I don't know whether I caught it or not. One of the questions that was asked was these rapid tests that are becoming available, and it seems like they're starting to get shared into the business community. Is that going to help us, maintain the safety, but also help some of these businesses. I know that the event planners and the wedding people and some of the athletic, places where 100 people show up or 50 people show up. Is there any plan in the works to kind of use those rapid tests to kind of speed along the activity in our local businesses?
We've been working with a group from the event professionals, and they've come up with some really good ideas to not just protect the customers, the guests, but also their employees. So we're working with them on some ways to make that roll out. I got to give them credit for coming up with some really thoughtful responses. So we are working with them to try to make something happen. Unfortunately, the numbers are really bad right now. So we're just not in a place to be able to allow for any kind of big events. But like I said, we are kind of looking at some of these fitness and sports items as well, so that we can try to make it a little more clear, because we are seeing a lot of confusion into what the rules are.
Okay, Ben, you got anything for Liz?
I do. Hey, Liz. If someone has had the 2 vaccines, do they still need to get tested if they travel? When traveling to Rhode Island internationally, why do we need to quarantine for 14 days? Why can't they just get a negative test?
So I'm not a doctor, but it's my understanding that the vaccine takes 6 weeks to be fully functional. And my guess is I don't think anybody's met that threshold in the world right now. So you got to really take a look at that and see what information you're getting from health when you're getting your vaccinations that can tell you when you're sort of fully vaccinated and able to do a lot more. And that question is going to keep coming up as more and more people get vaccinated. It is something that we're talking about to say, what is that going to look like? But the reality is, until a large percentage of the population is vaccinated, we all still have to act like we're all still contagious to each other.
Last question. If you're a small business and you're the only one cleaning, do you still have to keep a log?
Yes, because the point is to be able to show that it's done when an inspector comes or if somebody else is there, right? So, it's literally just you writing a piece of paper, right? It's just building customer confidence. Is it annoying for you? Yeah, maybe, but if somebody wants to see it or you want to post it up on a wall that shows that you're doing this, for the 8 seconds it might take you to do it, I would encourage you to do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Well, thanks so
Okay,
much. I didn't
thanks,
get
Liz.
to
See
say
you next week.
congratulations in the beginning because your screen was a little fuzzy. So I just want to say congratulations and look forward to working with you again on our favorite subject, small business.
Thanks, Liz.
I'm with you. Thanks, Liz. All right, do we have any of the coalition members with us? Ben and all right, got Lori there and Chris, great.
Thanks,
I'm
Gov.
buffering on my screen, but I can see them. So thanks, guys. We got, we had that call on Monday. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm not sure whether you can hear me or not, but
yeah, we can hear
put a
you.
thumbs
Yep.
up. Okay, good. And we're going to keep those calls going. Thank you, to make sure that we keep the small business interest front and center. I think that your work, Lori's work, everybody in the coalition, Justin, and many, hundreds and hundreds of businesses that are participating on the different programs that have been set up with your leadership, really make sure that we're positioned very well to keep that voice loud and strong. So, Chris, just share some of your thoughts, and then Lori as well, in terms of where we are right now. I think you might have heard Mark Haywood with the SBA presentation and how important that is, but give us some of your thoughts where the coalition is, feeling, and some of the things that have been, talked about on our call on Monday and also between our call.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first off, we're all very excited and happy for you so we congratulated. We had a little virtual celebration for now, Governor-elect McKee, or soon to be Governor McKee. So we really are excited to have someone that understands small businesses, has been an advocate for small businesses since day one in that governorship role. So congratulations, and we look forward to continuing to work with you as well as the General Assembly. When it comes to these issues that are critically important for small businesses. Obviously, we have to get through this really tough economic crisis that we are in. And our work will continue throughout the pandemic and even after it to ensure that Rhode Island becomes a small business friendly state. So some of the issues that are top concern for us is like you mentioned, figuring out exactly how much cash, how much money is exactly left so that from the CARES fund so that we can allocate that into the hands of small businesses that can buy them some time until the PPP loan is, finalized and sent out as well. So that's one of our top issues, as well as we're going to be reaching out to the coalition and truly understanding what are some of your top initiatives that we can then propose to the legislation before, around February time when they open back up. So, that's kind of the top initiatives. We're really excited for you. And there's a lot to work to be done. Our small businesses are still struggling mightily, every day. And we cannot stop the work that we're all doing to ensure that we're supporting them. And also, we also have to buy local. And it's another thing that Lori and her team has been spearheading.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Kristen. Go ahead, Laurie, give us a little overview where you are, and then I want to comment about the work that the coalition can continue to do to make sure that the dollars that were allocated to help small businesses and not been awarded don't get redirected. And as I'm hearing that they may get redirected in a way that is not going to be, in the best interest of our small businesses. So what was allocated by the governor, should end up in some way helping small businesses in an equitable, distribution. So, Lori.
Yeah, sure. So shoplocalrhodeisland.com is the platform for all small businesses to create a digital footprint, whether they have a website or not. It's a searchable site. And to Matt's point and Liz's point, it's this idea of keeping Rhode Island dollars in Rhode Island and making sure that your customers feel safe going into your business. And we continue to advocate that the small businesses are taking care of the communities and their customers in Rhode Island. So it's really important to let your customers know what you're up to. You can do that on Shop Local RI. You can shoplocalrhodeisland.com, and you can search for what you're looking for. Everything you need is in Rhode Island, and I say stay safe and let's keep our dollars here. We continue to give the small business on both sides, the Shop Local side and the coalition side, the complete confidence around advocacy for their success.
Yeah, so I think that the time frame we're in right now is critical. Mark Hayward's going to play an important role. I can tell you, Chris mentioned about the General Assembly. It's been reported that I have had discussions now with the Senate President and the Speaker, Speaker Sakachi and Dominic Ruggiero, and so I think that they are inclined, and I think they did report out that we talked about the budgets issues and the vaccination and the COVID health issues, but also I was good to hear that they put in the small business as one of the topics that we discussed. So we got work to do, and there's always a balance to that work, but you need to have a voice in order to get some results. And Lori and Chris and the rest of the coalition is going to give that, it's going to give the small business community a voice. So thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, Chris? Am I still choppy? I'm hearing I'm still choppy. I'm gonna need some help.
You are a little choppy. I'm gonna stay on for the small business panel just in case to help. Ben said so.
Excellent. Sounds good.
All right.
Excellent. Thanks, Lori.
Congratulations. I look forward to it.
Shop local. Yeah. All right, let's bring on a couple of our businesses and see what we got here. And with Anthony and Richard, and as well as I see, was that Jenny, right? So let's start off with Jenny. Tell us a little bit about your business and some of the things that you wanted to bring up, and then we'll go to Anthony, who's back again for a second time. He's going to give us an update on his delivery program, and then Richard, of course, with the Towing Association, which we know that we all want to have a voice. So go ahead, Jenny.
Hello. So my name is Jen. I'm from M&S Motors. We specialized in auto body and salvage repair. One thing that we've been getting hit on tremendously is the salvage appointments with the registry. So most of our work, I would have to say 90% of our work has to deal with the reconstruction of salvaged vehicles. Now, with DMV, it's been very difficult to work with when it comes to appointments. Either they'll give us one appointment or they will not give us any and then suspend it for a good amount of time. And that halts our ability to sell vehicles. Even with our auto body section, there's a lot of less cars out on the streets, which equals to a lot less accidents, which our auto body section has been suffering from that because there's not a lot of work out there on that aspect as well.
Yeah, so Jen, thank you, Jen. Is it Jean or Jenny? Jen?
Jen.
Oh, Jean.
Yes.
Sorry. Jen, yeah. Jen. Thank you for that. And I know that, we've been working with one of our tours, as I think you may know, is a 39 tour, one in every community in the used car business and the related industries. And I know that there's been a great deal of progress made there, to have a communication with the DMV and the DMV director. So we're going to keep that going. But I think that, again, continually repeat the needs of a small business is really important. And when you collectively put everybody's, try to address the needs you can, we make the state stronger. And stand alone, this coalition of small business. If you're a small business owner, go to rismallbusiness.org and sign up. Because we all should be kind of rooting for one another, and where it doesn't hurt somebody, but it helps somebody, we need to work on that. I know the salvage issue is one that I think that we can do better on, but I also think there is a good cooperative spirit right now at the DMV to address these things. So we need to make sure that we keep that conversation going. So thanks for being here today. Go ahead, Jen. Yeah, this is really frustrating. Anthony, please introduce yourself. I think that you were doing the valet service, but you converted that into a delivery service. I don't know whether I've lost you or not, but please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit, give us a little update if you can hear me. No, just Anthony. Richard, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Richard?
Hello.
Great. Richard, introduce yourself and give us a little bit of perspective on how the pandemic impact in your business, or just related to any improvements that we can make to the operations of the, that you represent of the Towing Association. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Richard Zercher, President of Rhode Island Public Towing Association, and we've spoke before in the past about some issues that are ongoing in the state, but particularly with the pandemic that's going on and the slowdown in work we've seen, traffic has been obviously significantly reduced. Police activity also, which causes a slowdown in our work, which car accidents are way down. So our interaction with the public for need of service, either breakdown towing because people aren't driving cars as often or as many miles and things of that nature. So it's caused a significant slowdown in work, which then it causes a difficulty for us. We're in essential industry. We work hand in hand with the police and local government to keep the roads and highways cleared. We're relied on 24 hours a day, but with a significant slowdown in work, it's difficult to keep the doors open and the lights on and make truck payments, and also pay our employees properly, compensate them for when they're working night calls and weekend calls. So we've definitely seen taken a real big hit with this, and it's been difficult to keep everything going.
So Richard, give me just a quick overview of whether you were able to qualify for any of the SBA programs that were in the spring, early summer, and then any of the grant programs that we tried to, get in place to help the small businesses. Were you able to get any help, or your association members any help in that area?
Yeah, so my company particularly, we applied and we received the PPP money right away. And what we did in the beginning, which we were asked to, was keep all the employees working. And so for the first 7 weeks, kind of burned through an awful lot of money because there was nobody on the road, no towing whatsoever, no work at all. But we kept everyone going. And then the PPP money was very helpful. Then we later applied for the grant through SBA, which we got, and that was helpful also. We've advised members to do that also, and I think that's been helpful. But like I said, the problem is, we kept everyone working in the very beginning, and then the PPP money came along, and that was going through pretty quick, and that's all been exhausted. And we're looking forward to some leadership under you taking over as governor to really to help us out with some of the situations and all small business in general, because I know that they're suffering, and we all need some help. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think that we need to just pay close attention, and you only can do what you can do, Richard, right? But the effort needs to be made, and then we need to. But I think the opportunity that is facing us to help our small businesses, whether it's an SBA program or the CARES Act program, the grants, the potential for more stimulus to come in, and then making sure all our many businesses as we possible get those dollars out. That's going to help everybody. The more dollars we get out into the system. So we'll stay in touch on, working together, and we'll continue to do that. And then, I would just encourage everybody to stay active in this RI Small Business, Association. They got some good plans, but we need small businesses to participate in order to get the attention that, groups in the state get, because they have a good, strong professional voice. So please stay involved in this Rhode Island Small Business Association. Thanks for being here. I think we got two more guests here. Anthony, I don't know if you can hear me now, or whether I'm the problem or you're the problem, but this technology is a challenge sometimes. No, I don't think I got Anthony. I think we have another guest there. I'm not sure. I can't recognize the name here, but it's Nuns Auto Sales. Can you hear me? You're on mute right now. Yeah, unmute yourself and introduce yourself, please.
My name is Anolfo Tejada. I'm from Nunes Auto Sales, and congratulations, Governor. And this has affected everyone. As a small business owner, it has trickled down to the used auto parts and also the auto sales. The prices have actually increased. So people aren't commuting as much to work, and some people are actually, working from home. So that creates less traffic. And obviously the gentleman before was talking about that. So as an economy, we're all tied in together. When the auto manufacturer closed at the beginning of the pandemic, that created a car shortage, and that was felt at the small dealership and the used auto parts industry. Dealers were getting less vehicles, fewer trade-ins, and all this caused the used car market, the price to spike. So obviously, we thank you for all the work you have actually done for all of the small business for us.
Yeah, so I think that, and where's your business located?
Mine is located in the heart of Providence, right on Manton Avenue. It's actually 252 Manton Avenue.
Yeah.
It's a family-owned business. Obviously, we started 13 years.
Yeah, so I think that yeah. Well, yeah, I know the family owned. Having been involved with small business myself, with my family and my dad, and so yeah. So I just want to give everybody the opportunity to introduce themselves. I think that people who are listening and we expect that the media will be listening to this program, and then we share it out. The messages that you delivered today are very important, and we'll keep this, this discussion going. I'm committed to make sure that this program stays alive at the noontime on Tuesdays going forward. And also my community conversation tomorrow night at 7:00. We'll continue that as well, because that's a great forum. Tomorrow night, we have many of the General Assembly members that are slated to be on to talk about everything that is impacting them right now, but also the small business issues will be discussed. So I want to just thank everybody for being here today. Ben, I don't know, do we have anybody else on? It doesn't look like we're going to get Anthony on. We'll bring him back.
Harry.
Yeah. Looks like we've got a little.
Yeah, I don't think Anthony's
connection.
going to be able to do it for today.
All right. Well, we'll get him back. I'll just remind you, he came on. He had a valet service that he kind of reinvented into a delivery service, and that on the Quidnick Island. He was on months ago talking about it. So we'll have him back, Ben. I want to thank everybody for being here today. Our hour is up, and we'll stay in touch. Thanks so much for sharing your story.